Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Got some really interesting topics to discuss today, but before we get into any of that, I want to ask you guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Hope you guys are doing well on this Thursday, and it's really interesting because yesterday I was talking about left backs, Robin Gosens from Atalanta being linked to Chelsea. And now we have another left back that I did also mention yesterday, Nicolas Tagliafico from Ajax. And I was speaking about him yesterday with his fee as a potential target for Chelsea. But then last night, Matt Law did a big piece that sort of blew up Twitter last night, getting Chelsea fans very excited, as you can see on your screen here. The Ajax left back, Nicolas Tagliafico, could join Chelsea for a 22.4 million fee this summer. Frank Lampard wants to add a new left back to his squad and has either moved for Leicester City's Ben Chilwell, but England international Chilwell is rated at more than 40 million by Leicester, which would make the 27-year-old Tagliafico a much cheaper alternative. It remains to be seen whether or not Lampard wants to make a move for Tagliafico, but Chelsea have been made aware of his relatively low fee, the fact the player wants to move to England, and made checks on him before the suspension of football. Frank Lampard is likely to allow one of his current left backs, Marcos Alonso, to leave the club at the end of the season if the Spaniard receives an offer to go. Other than a left back, Lampard is targeting a striker, a winger, and potentially a new centre-back. So really interesting piece there by Matt Law about Tagliafico and also about Marcos Alonso, which we'll come on to as well. Firstly, about Tagliafico, this has excited a lot of Chelsea fans, and for me, I've reiterated this constantly. I feel that left-back is the most important position for Chelsea to strengthen this summer. And for me, it's almost a bit of a no-brainer if Chelsea are to go into trying to sign Tagliafico, because Ben Chilwell, although he's been brilliant for Leicester this season, I feel that his fee will be almost astronomical because Leicester have done this before with Harry Maguire last summer. I feel that naturally those negotiations might be a lot more difficult, and the fee will just rise and rise and rise because of being a Premier League player, because of being a highly rated English player. We know the difficulties there, and I think this is the key thing here in the current unpredictable market. 22.4 million for a player of Tagliafico's quality, to bring him into the first team to elevate a position that has needed strengthening for a while. For me, I think this would be absolutely brilliant by Chelsea, and it would, match up to, I think, what the brilliant business was for getting Hakim Ziyech for 37 million, which I think was a low fee. This would be a low fee as well. So as I say, it's still at that stage that Matt Law's reporting at, where it's not sure how serious Chelsea are going to be. Will Chelsea actually still pursue their first choice, which is Ben Chilwell? Tagliafico is 27 years old, and I probably think that, Chilwell, being a younger player, has lots of potential to grow and learn and get better. Potentially makes him a better option in the long term than Tagliafico, but, you need to have that mix of experience and youth, and I think maybe there's been a tendency, because of Chelsea's project this season and Lampard's project to bring in young players, to just focus on young players, but you need that experience, and I think Lampard has lent very well on that experience this season. The likes of Azpilicueta, the likes of Willian and Pedro, Olivier Giroud, another left back, Marcos Alonso, in recent times. So Tagliafico, 27 years old, has probably got still 3 to 4 good years left in him, and I think would really help Hakim Ziyech as well bed into Chelsea. I think both of those players coming to Chelsea at the same time, I think would be brilliant. And for me, the fee, I just think it makes sense for Chelsea, and I think, you're looking at actually who's realistically going to be on the market this summer, who can Chelsea actually buy that's going to improve the first team squad. 22.4 million fee just seems absolutely ridiculous in the current market, doesn't it? Even in the best of times. And I think Ajax making Chelsea aware of that, I think, is very important and shows that there is a willingness to make this deal happen. And they clearly have a good working relationship, as Matt Law has said, with the Ziyech deal. So I wouldn't be too shocked if Chelsea going for this, because I think it would be a brilliant move and would improve an area that Chelsea have needed to improve, and would probably leave still maybe a bit to spend on other areas that Lampard wants to improve, like striker and a wide player and potentially a central defender, as Matt Law talks about. Matt Law also did pick up on Marcos Alonso potentially being the current left back to leave instead of Emerson. Whether both of them leave and Ian Maatson stays, we've spoken about this sort of issue before. It was interesting because Emerson has been linked with a swap deal for Alexandro before by Di Marzio. I'd be happy to keep either of Emerson and Alonso. My preference would be Alonso, but I think just in terms of strengthening this position, which is the most important thing, it's good to me that Chelsea have this option now. And I think they really need to pounce, because I think maybe other English clubs may look at this, likes of Manchester United, who could feel they want to strengthen in that area and go in and make this still happen. I think Chelsea hopefully will be proactive and on the move and getting this deal done if they want to, because I think it would be brilliant for the squad, and I think would free up maybe the rest of the summer, maybe the rest of the time in the transfer window to get other deals done. So please let me know your opinions on Tagliafico. I think it's a class player. I think it's a player who plays at a high standard, playing for a very progressive side that I think very much suits what Chelsea are going to want to do, make us more productive in that area, strengthen that area, refresh that area. For me, it makes sense. So please let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Nicolas Tagliafico coming to Chelsea in the summer. And next as well is another follow-up to what I talked about in yesterday's video, Jeremy Boga. So I was talking about Jeremy Boga and Chelsea not taking up the option to buy him back, and sort of thinking about who could Chelsea get in a wide area to strengthen our current crop of wingers at the club, especially if Willian and Pedro leave. And one player that's been linked recently that has been talked a lot about on social media by Chelsea fans in interest is Brentford's Saïd Benrahma. This is coming from Algerian media, as the player is Algerian, and they are linking him to Chelsea and saying that Chelsea have made contact and have made him one of their priorities. Benrahma has been one of Brentford's best players in what has been an exciting promotion charge this season in the Championship. 10 goals and 8 assists. He can play on the left and right wing. And instantly, I think the thing I want to touch on when I'm talking about this player is instantly when we heard about, and I think it was similar when Chelsea were linked with the defender Ben White a few months ago, who's playing at Leeds currently. Because he plays in the Championship, instantly dismissed. You know, mediocre player. Why are we going in for this player? We should be going in for bigger players. And I just think it's a really reductive and simplistic point to make. Just simply looking at the level that player currently plays at, looking at the team he plays for. I could give you several examples in recent years of big clubs going in for players at a lower division and prospering off of it and then becoming brilliant players. Firstly, a big example of this is Andy Robertson going to Liverpool from Hull. Hull had just been relegated from the Premier League, and I'm sure many top clubs would have thought, why would we go in for a player who's just been relegated? But no, Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp went in for him, and now he's one of the best fullbacks in world football. There's a great example there. I believe he was like 8 million, so a ridiculously low fee. Another example, James Maddison, who was brilliant at Norwich. Leicester went in for him, and now he's one of Leicester's best midfielders and a really exciting prospect in the Premier League. So just because you see a player in the Championship, don't just dismiss because it's the second tier of English football. And if you've actually watched Brentford, they play some really exciting football. And Benrahma is definitely a key component of that. You know, whenever I've watched him play, very much a flair player, very much can score goals, can be very productive. Yes, making that jump up is a big thing, but Tammy Abraham made that jump up from scoring Championship goals to Premier League goals. So why can't Benrahma do the same? It could be a case here of Chelsea going in for a player very early on and getting there before anyone else. If Benrahma was to stay at Brentford get promoted to the Premier League and Benrahma becomes a Premier League player, his fee probably skyrockets a bit. If he does well in the Premier League, it attracts more interest. If Chelsea could get in there early for a younger player and get a good fee for him and then bring him in, potentially it could be a stroke of genius by Marina and by Chelsea to scout this player to get him early. How can Chelsea get there first of finding hidden gems and bringing them into the first team and then improving them rather than just going for the finished article all the time? And also, it has been touted with Jeremy Boga that he probably wouldn't want to come back to Chelsea with the fear of sitting on the bench once again. Maybe Saïd Benrahma would be the opposite. You know, maybe he'd want to come to Chelsea, challenge himself at a higher level and think that he could back himself to get into the first team. Maybe sitting on the bench at first, he'd be okay with that, but then breaking into the first team. And we're going to need a winger. It's pretty simple. You know, I think, as I said yesterday, Willian and Pedro leaving, you're going to need to replace one of them. And this is an option right here. I wouldn't say it's a strong link at the moment. It's still coming from Algerian media. You know, Matt Law in his big piece didn't touch on Benrahma, did say Chelsea are looking for a wide player. And then we sort of guess who that could be. Please let me know your opinions on this deal, this player. As I say, I think there'll be a lot of people who probably don't know a lot about him if you don't watch a lot of the Championship and don't know a lot about Brentford. But I think he's been very productive for them, very impressive for them. So I'd be interested to see this deal happen, because I think a bit like other deals we've already made, Ziyech, maybe potentially Tagliafico, could be a lower fee, but as well improve the first team. So please let me know your opinions in the comments below. But that is it for today's edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch it. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.